I want to talk about President Trump's sit-down interview with Maria Bartiromo. President Trump sat down with Maria Bartiromo and was talking about a wide range of topics. President Trump talked about Zelensky, dismantling the Department of Education, the need to rebalance the world towards an America First posture. Let's start with this, and this is very important because there's a lot of controversy around about what's going on with Ukraine. The president wants peace. It's very simple. It's a very simple A/B test. Do you want an end to the conflict, or do you want the conflict to continue? War is the ugliest thing that human beings do. It is the nastiest thing. If you must engage in war, you should do it for very good reasons, with clear victory in sight. What does success look like in Ukraine? We have been asking this question since the very beginning. What does success look like? Well, President Trump has been asking this question and saying, why are we spending hundreds of billions of dollars to Ukraine? Why are we sending 150, $200 billion to Ukraine? By what are we getting out of this? You see, it's also very revealing of a retired foreign policy perspective. It is very revealing of an old vestige of the past, where people believe that the Soviet Union and Russia are still the greatest threat to America. Do you remember Barack Obama? This is a great clip to get. Barack Obama, back in the debate with Willard Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney got the memo from the neocons because Mitt Romney is a neoconservative. But back in the 2012 debate, Mitt Romney said, Mr. Obama, Russia is gaining strength and Russia is gaining power. And it was Obama that had the one-liner against Mitt Romney. The Cold War called, and they want their foreign policy back. The Cold War called, and they say that you're completely out of date. You see, the perspective of D.C. has shifted over the last 10 years when it comes to Russia, largely because of President Trump. President Trump coming onto the scene, they blamed, wrongly of course, they blamed Russia for the rise of Donald Trump. Ooh, Vladimir Putin and Trump have so much in common. And they help propagandize the American body politic to believe that Russia was our greatest enemy, because hating Trump also, therefore, you must hate Putin. Hate Trump, hate Putin. Hate Trump, hate Putin. And we don't like Putin on this program, but they're two completely different types of figures. This is President Trump speaking to Maria Bartiromo, play cut 24.
He took money out of this country under Biden like candy from a baby. I just don't think he's grateful. We gave him, in my opinion, $350 billion. Europe is in for $100 billion. There's a bravery because somebody has to use the weapons. But without those weapons, don't forget, I was the one that gave him the javelins that was able to knock down all the tanks. Look, if I were president, that would have never happened. You wouldn't have had Russia going into Ukraine.
President Trump is trying to balance both sides here. You see, President Trump understands that in order to get the Russians to the table, he must also have the Ukrainians internalize that they're not going to get Crimea back, that they might have to concede some land on the eastern parts of Ukraine. This is Barack Obama talking about Russia back in 2012. D.C. has completely pivoted its foreign policy perspective over the last decade. Play cut 29.
Governor Romney, I'm glad that you recognize that al-Qaeda is a threat, because a few months ago, when you were asked what's the biggest geopolitical threat facing America, you said Russia. not al-Qaeda, you said Russia, in the 1980s are now calling to ask for their foreign policy back because, the Cold War has been over for 20 years.
I hate to say it, but Barack Obama's right. Barack Obama was correct saying that this fixation and this fascination with Russia is antiquated. But you see, one of the major problems is the composition of so many of the lawmakers in Washington, D.C. are fascinated with continuing this fight against Russia. Again, Russia is not a good country. It's not a free society. I'm not envious of Russia. Russia is not a country that should ever be modeled or mirrored. It's not a good country. But it should not, under any circumstances, in this current setting, be the greatest enemy of the United States of America. That should be the Chinese Communist Party. President Trump continued with Maria Bartiromo and dove into the details. We don't have this piece of tape, but basically President Trump said, we're going to bring all the parties to the table and we're going to broker a settlement. We're going to broker a ceasefire, a cessation in forces. We ask the question often on this program, cui bono? Who benefits? It is the most operative question when you come across circumstances like this. To who benefits? And you have to ask the very simple question. Who benefits from peace and who benefits from war? Well, who benefits from peace? Well, the people of Ukraine benefit from peace. The people of America benefit from peace. Humanity benefits from peace. But then who benefits from war? The military-industrial complex, oligarchs of the ruling class of Ukraine. And you have to just say, what is best for our own country? We're going to see a lot of yammering about Ukraine in this next week. But we need to have the prudence and the foreign policy maturity to be willing to say, what is best for America? And what is best for America is a peace deal. A peace deal that will ensure that the war is over, that Putin will not further invade or further march his forces. And maybe we should reopen diplomatic channels with the Russian Federation. It's tempting to just say, well, Russia is a great enemy of the United States. We've made them an enemy. Instead, we should try to drive a wedge between Russian and Chinese Communist Party marriages, the marriage that's happening on the world stage. That is a threat to the United States of America. That is bad for the United States of America. The Chinese Communist Party is an enemy of the United States, the greatest enemy.